I'd always felt like the odd one out in my family. The black sheep, as they say. My name's Cheryl, and now, at 32, I can look back and say, that feeling has always been there. Growing up as the oldest child of Isabella and Adam Carter, two well-known doctors, you'd think I had everything a kid could want. But the spotlight never quite found me. That was reserved for my younger twin brothers, Ethan and Liam. From the day they arrived, it was like my parents forgot I existed. At first, it was small things. Ethan and Liam got more time and attention. But as we grew, the imbalance became obvious. By my 12th birthday, I felt it more than ever. For months, I'd been hinting about an art set I saw in the store, hoping my parents might notice. I pictured myself sitting by my window, painting something beautiful. When my birthday finally arrived, I unwrapped my one gift, heart racing. But instead of brushes and paints, I held a math workbook. My mom just smiled, saying, "It'll help you catch up with your brothers." That day, I realized this was my reality. Years passed, and the favoritism only grew. Family vacations were chosen based on the boys' interests. Ethan wanted to ski. Off to the mountains we went. Liam picked surfing. We hit the beach. No one ever asked me where I wanted to go or what I cared about. It was just assumed that I'd go along with whatever the boys wanted. By the time I reached high school, I'd learned to keep my dreams to myself. One night, I gathered the courage to tell my parents about my passion for art restoration. I'd spent hours at the local museum, fascinated by the work that went into reviving old paintings and sculptures. But when I mentioned it, my mom laughed. "Art restoration?" she scoffed. "Be serious, Cheryl. That's not a real job." Ethan chimed in, saying, "Maybe try something useful, like medicine." Their dismissive smiles stung more than any insult could have. Despite my family's reaction, I wasn't ready to let go of my dream. The day my acceptance letter arrived for a scholarship in art restoration, I felt like I could finally see a future where I was valued. I rushed into the kitchen, excited to share the news. But my mom barely looked up from her magazine, and my dad muttered something about real achievements while praising my brother's SAT scores. They didn't even offer to drive me to college. I took the bus alone, clinging to the envelope of support from the one person who saw me, Grandma Lily. "Don't forget who you are," she'd told me, slipping a small check into my hand. College became my escape. I focused on my studies, spending countless hours in the museum lab, cleaning, restoring, and learning. My family stayed distant, calling only to update me on my brothers' lives, their accomplishments, their trips, their fancy internships. My pride grew quietly, but I missed the warmth of a real family. In my final year, I secured an internship at a small museum. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. I called home, hoping for some recognition, but my mom brushed it off, more interested in discussing Ethan's upcoming research publication. As I hung up, I realized how deeply I'd buried my frustration. I wanted to feel loved and accepted by my family, but their indifference felt heavier than ever. Graduation came and went without much notice from my parents. The one person who stood by me was Grandma Lily, who insisted on celebrating my success in her quiet but meaningful way. She slipped another small check into my hand, whispering, "Go after what makes you happy." Her support meant the world, a reminder that someone in my family believed in me. When I met Jack, everything started to change. Jack was a talented graphic designer with an easy smile, someone who knew what it felt like to struggle in a field that wasn't always appreciated. We fell in love over shared late-night coffees and our mutual love for art. When I decided it was time for Jack to meet my family, I hoped it would be a step toward mending things. But my parents only saw him as a man with no future. They questioned his finances, his career, his ability to support me. My dad even said, "You can do better, Cheryl." I was furious, but Jack held my hand and told me not to worry. He understood me, even if they never would. As Jack and I started planning our wedding, we faced another hurdle. We didn't have much, but we wanted our day to be special. Hesitantly, I reached out to my parents, hoping they might help with the costs. But my mom's cold response was like a slap. "Cheryl, you made this choice. Handle it on your own." I wasn't surprised, just hurt. Once again, Grandma Lily came through. Her small gift covered some of our expenses, allowing us to have the modest wedding we'd dreamed of. Jack and I promised ourselves that this would be a fresh start, away from my family's constant disapproval. The wedding day was simple but beautiful. Our friends helped decorate the community hall with flowers and fairy lights. As I walked down the aisle, Jack's smile made every struggle worthwhile. But my family's reactions brought me crashing back. My mom whispered complaints about the decorations, and my brothers snickered in the corner, glued to their phones. I tried to ignore them, but the next day I found that they'd posted humiliating photos from the wedding on social media, mocking our budget wedding with sarcastic captions. The betrayal cut deep, and when I saw that my parents had laughed along, something inside me broke. Months later, it was time for the annual family reunion. Jack encouraged me to go, hoping it might be a chance to clear the air. But as soon as we arrived, the tension was unbearable. I tried to be polite, but when I overheard Ethan bragging about another luxury vacation funded by my parents, I couldn't hold back. "Must be nice to have everything handed to you," I muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. Silence fell, and my mom tried to deflect, claiming they'd always treated us equally. I laughed bitterly, recounting every time they'd ignored or dismissed me in favor of my brothers. My words hung in the air, and for the first time, they had nothing to say. As we turned to leave, Grandma Lily, who had stayed quiet through the chaos, stepped forward. She looked at my parents with a disappointment I'd never seen before. "You've failed, Cheryl," she said softly, "and I won't let you hurt her any longer." Her words were a balm to the years of hurt, a reminder that I deserved better. Jack and I left that day, determined to build our life without my family's shadow. A few months later, Jack's design business took off after he landed a major client. Suddenly, we were doing well, finally able to breathe financially. But with our success came calls from my parents, congratulating us, asking to reconnect. I was stunned at their sudden interest, and when my mom suggested a family dinner to celebrate, I finally saw their motives for what they were. They were proud of us now that we had something to show. I declined their invitation, telling them bluntly that our family was now the one Jack and I had built together, with Grandma Lily by our side. The moment I posted a picture of our new apartment, holding the keys with Jack, my phone buzzed with texts from my brothers. They accused me of manipulating Grandma into funding our success, saying I'd always played the poor, neglected daughter to get what I wanted. Their anger turned ugly when they showed up at our door, shouting accusations that stunned me. Just as I was about to respond, Grandma Lily's voice cut through their shouting. She had heard every word, her face reflecting a mix of hurt and anger. "This is who you truly are," she said quietly, looking at Ethan and Liam with a sadness I'd never seen. They tried to backtrack, but her mind was made up. She left with Jack and me that day, choosing to walk away from the bitterness that had poisoned our family for years. In the months that followed, Jack and I focused on building our new life. Grandma Lily became a constant presence, filling the gap my family had left. Our life was simple, filled with joy and hard work, but it was ours, a life of respect, love, and mutual support. I learned that family isn't just about blood. It's about those who choose to stand by you, those who believe in you even when the world doesn't.